set. Nowitzki again for the lead.
Oh,
Bang!
baby. Okay. We have finally started the All Things Mavs podcast. That's right. This is the first one in, well, not really in history, because if you guys have been following All Things Mavs like since the start, I did one back when I had like 2,000 followers or something. And it wasn't a great podcast because I had no idea what I was doing. I was in high school. I really didn't know the NBA well enough to warrant a podcast or warrant anybody listening to my opinions. But now I'm a seasoned vet. I have over the 10,000 followers on All Things Mavs. If you guys aren't following that Twitter account, number one, that's kind of weird because I don't know, really where else you'd be listening to this. But at all_things_Mavs is my Mavericks Twitter. Go follow it. I always told myself, hey, Jimmy, that's my name, by the way, Jimmy Crowther. I'm going to be your host on every single All Things Mavs podcast. Once you hit 10K followers, you're either A, going to make a website, you're B, going to make a YouTube channel, or C, you're going to start a podcast. And I started the YouTube channel a little prematurely, All Things Mavs on YouTube. I put some highlights up on there. I'll eventually get my own content on there, so be looking forward to that here pretty soon. Hopefully about the same time this pod comes out. And then, I told myself a website is just too much maintenance and not enough. It doesn't actually end up being worth it. So decided against that. Stuck with the Twitter account. Sticking with this podcast now onto YouTube as well. And look, this first pod is kind of like a sample podcast. Okay, this is kind of going to be me telling you about me, kind of telling you about All Things Mavs, about why I hope you enjoy my opinions, why I think you should listen to my opinions, and then kind of tell you the platform or I guess the outline for what this pod is going to look like going forward, because, you can kind of think of it as a first date, except it's like the worst first date ever because I'm only going to talk about me, myself, and I guess All Things Mavs, which I guess could be my alter ego here. So yeah, you guys can just sit down and listen. Worst first date ever, but get used to it. So here we go. So All Things Mavs, how did it start? Why did it start? Well, first of all, been a Mavs fan since I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. So you're going to probably get some biased opinions on here, but you're probably going to like most of my opinions. Unless you're not a Mavs fan, then thanks for listening, but wouldn't expect you to listen a lot more because I'm going to talk a lot of Mavs and I'm going to try to put a positive spin on a lot of it, but I'm going to be realistic as well. So I started the Mavs podcast back when I was, it was 2013. It was 6 years ago. Man, I was like a sophomore in high school, and I basically started it because I was like, okay, all my friends don't give a crap about my Mavs opinions, so what should I do? Make my own Twitter account where I can only talk about Mavs, and I did that, and then people actually started following me, and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting, and then I realized I suck at math, I'm horrible at science, I don't enjoy history. So what could I do? Journalism. So, kept going with All Things Mavs in high school. And then senior year, I was like, okay, I guess I'll kind of make this hopefully into a living someday. And then I decided to go to Oklahoma State University. I'm going to be a senior there this upcoming year. And studying sports media. Went in as a sports media major, and I'm graduating hopefully next year as a sports media major, which was definitely a huge goal for me. I'm also a religious studies minor. If you guys want ask more questions on that, feel free to hit me up on Twitter, DM me, message me, at me, whatever, and ask me some more questions. Personal stuff, I'm all about it. We can talk all day, every day about personal stuff. So I went from there, and then about my junior year of college up at OSU, I landed a job in the athletic communications department up there with the Cowboys, and worked closely with the football team. I was working very closely with the men's basketball team. I redid a lot of the media guide for us up there and just helped out. Our sports information director for men's basketball is Stephen Howard, and he really helped me a lot kind of grow, and I did a lot of social media for us, I guess I should say. And then that was my first year in the office. Second year, now going into my second year there, I will be the sports information director for the men's tennis team. So not really basketball, not really Dallas Mavericks related, but it is sports related. I'm definitely working in the sports world, which I absolutely love. Prior to that, I wrote a little bit for the Dallas Sports Fanatic with Michael Lark. He helped me kind of get going there. That was my first Dallas Mavericks writing sort of job, just helping them out, unpaid kind of thing. And then before that even, The first podcast I ever went on was with a guy named Ben, BS3 Sports, the BS3 Sports Show. If you're an OG All Things Mavs follower, you know what I'm talking about. I went on there once a week, did a quick little Mavs segment, and that was that. And I was like a sophomore in high school, maybe a junior in high school at that time, and he was like, yeah, keep coming on. I was like, okay, cool. So I did that. But fast forward to now, so I'm like I said, going to be the men's tennis sports information director next year at Oklahoma State up in Stillwater. And then this summer, I was really blessed to land a job with the company Chat Sports. And if you guys, again, are following me on Twitter, if you guys know anything about it, great. Thank you for following me. Go interact with us on YouTube. We have a great YouTube following. YouTube channel is incredible. I kind of did their first Mavs-centric show. It's what I'm doing now, and I absolutely love it. Working closely there. I'm working in their office in downtown Dallas all summer long, and it is incredible. I am the NBA Now host for Chat Sports, and then I do, Mavs stuff. I do a bunch of other stuff daily. I mean, I'm in the office at least 5 days a week doing all this, now that free agency's coming up, which it's here. And I know you guys are probably upset that I'm not talking about any NBA rumors, but I'm waiting to get this first introduction pod out. And then I'm going to start, hopefully the next pod you guys hear, actually not hopefully, I'm going to make that a promise to you guys. The next podcast you guys hear is going to be all rumors, all news, free agency heavy, because we are in the middle of it, baby, and I absolutely love it. So that's that. That's kind of my background, kind of where I'm coming from with All Things Mavs. Hopefully gives you guys a better idea of who I am. And if you want to follow my personal account on Twitter, at Jimmy_Crowther, it's CROWTHER. I've got it linked on my All Things Mavs Twitter. So, and hey, if you don't care about me personally at all, that's totally fine. Keep following me on All Things Mavs. I appreciate it. So, yeah, so that's my background. What I want to do with this podcast. Number one, I want it to be the most, not just an interactive podcast. I want it to be the most interactive Mavericks podcast you guys listen to on hopefully a regular, if not daily basis. Now, I can't promise you guys a podcast every single day. I know Nick Van Exit's not his real name. Nick Angstead and Isaac Harris do a great job with Locked On Mavs. They give you guys podcasts every single day, and I love that pod. Okay, I've been on it before. I'll hopefully go on it again soon. No promises here, but a little teaser, one of those two might be a guest host on here with me sometime soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, so podcast every single day, probably not yet, but I promise you guys at least one a week, if not more. And if I can't give you guys that from here on out, I want you guys to rip me a new one on Twitter. I mean, get at me for it, because I'm committing to you guys, and I want you guys to commit to this podcast. I want you to subscribe. I want you to, interact with me on Twitter. Again, like I said, I want this to be the most interactive podcast you guys listen to on a daily/regular basis. And if you guys do that, I promise I will continue to pump out these podcasts on a regular basis. And if I'm not, again, rip me a new one, because I deserve it, because I'm broadcasting it to you all you guys right here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with this going forward. I can already tell you that I have a few guests lined up that are in the Mavs world, as you guys probably know. And as you guys probably are as well, very, very interactive in the Mavs Twitter world, which is probably the best NBA fan base Twitter to be a part of. Actually, not probably. It definitely is, because I love it. I love it and I hate it. There's a love-hate relationship. I know you guys feel it too, but I love being a part of it. Love interacting with you guys, and through that and through the followers that I've gained on All Things Mavs, it's given me a great chance to make some incredible connections with some people, and I can promise you there are going to be some really incredible guests on a regular basis here on the All Things Mavs pod. So stay tuned, okay? Stay with me. Subscribe here, because I don't want you guys to miss anything, and I want to give you guys great content on a regular basis. So what else? The music that you guys heard in the very beginning, the intro music. Stay tuned for the end of this podcast, because at the end, there's even more to that little intro, that little taste you guys got in that first 8 or so seconds. That's by my buddy, one of my good best friends up at Oklahoma State University. His name is John Wilmez. If you want to follow him on Instagram and get more of his stuff, Jonathan_Wilmez. You can find him on Twitter too, but he's not super active on there. But if he's listening, Dude, shout out to you, John. You killed it with that beat and with all the audio that's in there. I'm super hyped that you guys, that's the first thing you guys hear whenever you turn this podcast on. That would be on here every single time. Again, I'll have more of it at the end as we exit this intro pod. I know it's free agency and there's going to be rumors all summer long, and that's why I'm going to be giving you guys podcasts all summer long, okay? I mean, going to try to, what my plan is going forward, I know I just told you guys that I'm going to try to do this on a regular basis, but timing-wise, I want to get these out, get these recorded the night before, and hopefully put them out early morning of whatever the next day is. So, for example, right now, I'm recording on a Thursday night. You guys will probably be listening to this hopefully by Friday. If not then, there's still some platform stuff that I have to get finalized. So whenever you guys are listening to this, just know that I'm recording it on a Thursday night, planning to go up Friday. If not, every podcast from here on out will be recorded at night, and it'll go up the next morning. So you guys will get to listen to it, morning drive to work. Maybe it's a weekend, you're waking up late, and you're like, hey, where's my Mavs content? Oh, Jimmy's got it. All Things Mavs. That's what's up. So, yeah, I'll have it for you guys on a regular basis there. I'm listening to myself talk right now because I've got headphones on, talking into the mic, and I probably will never listen to my own podcast because I hate listening to the sound of my own voice. But hopefully you guys like it. And if you don't, just let me know. I'll accept the hate as much as I'll accept any kind of love you guys want to throw my way. If you guys have any suggestions for this podcast, if you guys have topics you want to hear, if you guys have questions you want answered, if you guys have guests you want to hear on here, I want you to tweet them at me at my Mavs account, or you can DM me even. My DMs are always open on Twitter. DM those to me. I will do everything in my power to make all of that happen. Like I said, I've got great guests coming on. I've got great ideas for segments to talk about. With free agency, coming up with segments isn't going to be tough because we have all the rumors to discuss. Today a lot of rumors dropped. Today is Thursday, so what I have heard today is the Kemba Walker stuff from Adrian Wojnarowski. That wasn't super pleasant, but we move on. We'll move forward. So whenever you guys are listening to this, I'm sure there will be a whole new batch of rumors, and that is why I'm not talking about them right now. But each night I'll kind of discuss whatever happened in the Mavs world. If things get dull, heck, I'll talk about anything that happened in the NBA world. So stay tuned for all that. I got this new fancy mic to talk into. And thinking about doing some, no, I was going to say Mavs ASMR. I'm not going to do that. That's just weird. But I promise you I will not give you that. Anyway, moving on from there. If you want to listen to this on YouTube, if you want to watch me talk, I will start putting these up on my YouTube channel, All Things Mavs, youtube.com/allthingsmavs. Go do that. If you're not subscribed to Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv, you're going to want to do that because I do other stuff. I do all video stuff for them. Like I said, I think I have one video going out at least every single day. We go live a ton. Me and my boy Tom Downey at What Going Downey on Twitter go live for NBA stuff all the time. I also go live a lot with Harrison Graham, who is also on 103.3 ESPN here in Dallas at Harrison Graham, you can find him on Twitter. I add him on my All Things Mavs account. It's like Harrison 1033 or Harrison Graham 1033, something like that. He's got great basketball takes. I'm hoping I can get those two guys on this podcast at some point. Actually, I'm not hoping. I can almost guarantee I can because I literally work with the guys. So if they say no, it gets really awkward. So Tom, Harrison, if you guys are listening, congrats. You're about to be on the All Things Mavs podcast sometime. Heck, if you guys are listening and you want to be a guest one time at least on here, let me know, DM me, tweet at me. I'll, depending on who you are, depending on what takes you have on basketball, I will put you on this podcast, potentially. If not, if you can't come on the podcast to talk, I will at least put your questions on here consistently. So that's my promise to you guys. That is kind of the introduction, the quick preview for the All Things Mavs podcast. Guys, you can get this on a regular basis now. I'm so happy that I got the following to do this. I'm very lucky, very blessed to have this opportunity. Not going to squander it. I want you guys to listen. I want you guys to subscribe. Leave me some reviews. interact again with me on Twitter. This is going to be the most interactive podcast I hope you guys listen to. I want to make this super fun for y'all because it's already super fun for me. I could ramble on about Dallas Mavericks basketball all day, every single day. So I'm going to at least try to do it for about 30 to, however long this thing goes sometimes, minutes here on the All Things Mavs podcast. Guys, this was the first ever. This is the introduction. So if you didn't like this one, that's okay. We're getting over the bumps in the road. Stay tuned. It's going to get better. All right. So thank you guys for listening. All right. I'll catch you guys on the next edition of the All Things Mavs.